Welcome home, Bitcoin Truth Seekers. It is Saturday, September 11th, 2021, broadcasting here from a green zone currently in Arizona desert. All right, so prepare for the possible shitstorm. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin market and what's going on. All right, as always, BitcoinDelivery.com got more for you there, like the cool make tweets, not make Teslas, not tweets t-shirt. It's very cool. Great conversation starter. All right, with that said, looking at the crypto squares this morning, looking at the last hour, that's all we really care about. Sol and Dot doing pretty well. XRP in the green also, but both of those kind of just barely. Oh, and look at that, now they're in the red. So anyway, the market ready in the market. Looking at total liquidations right now. So I want to just start looking at, okay, for the 10th, we had like 169 million in longs liquidated and 72 million in shorts liquidated. So optimism was not working for people. This morning we've got 6.4 million in shorts liquidated and 3.6 million in longs liquidated. So anyway, definitely a bit of an indecisive world out there, but we're not living back on the September 6th, where we had that massive 3.2 billion in longs wrecked. So anyway, looking at spot tradings on the spot pairs on Binance, basically. I'd like to see at least 30 to 50 billion for a good day. We're at 27 billion, okay, and we're down 20% last 24 hours. As you can see, the 7-day graph, we're definitely taking a bit of a dump recently. Now, also looking at derivatives here, let's refresh that. I'd like to see at least 70 billion in derivatives, basically futures on Binance for a good day. We're at 63 billion and we're down 20%. So not so ravishing. I'm not seeing a lot of volume. It's Saturday, understandable. Kind of, I would say, a holiday weekend, but it's September 11th weekend. What does that mean? I don't know. But it definitely is not pointing towards volume, that's for sure. Now I'm going to refresh this once again. Bitcoin trade volume explicitly last 24 hours over the big exchanges. Like I say, we need 3 billion to have the market running. Basically, that means the nodes are running and wash trading is happening, etc., 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 right? So we need 3 billion for Bitcoin to be online, in my opinion. We got 2.8 billion, so we have got shit volume. Whenever I see volume this low, it's never a good thing. Once you hit 3 billion, or once you're not over 3 billion, you definitely have a lot of volatility. That volatility, unless Bitcoin is extremely healthy, which it probably is not if you're at this low volume, means you're probably in for dumpy weather. That's why I mentioned prepare for the shitstorm, because maybe we're going to see more lows. All right, looking at longs versus shorts sentiment, we're going to refresh this. Long 64%, shorts 35% on Binance. All right, that's kind of hopeful. That's a long sentiment. For Ethereum, 67% long, 32% short. So definitely for Ethereum and Bitcoin both, we have a bit of a long sentiment on Binance. All right, but here's the deal. 21 weekly EMA is this line right here. Many people find that when you're above the 21 weekly EMA, you're good to go. When you're below it, you're not. So that's kind of a bear bull indicator for many people. Also, so is the MACD here on the weekly. If we note this, I mean, look, we just kind of drill in on this. 21 weekly EMA, when you, as you can see right here, when you drop below that thing, bam, it's just not a good day. You know what I mean? At all. And we have wicked to it. Of course, the body of the candle's not there. Let's see how this week closes. We definitely want to close above this, but really, the 21 weekly EMA is right at around like 42, but we're about 43,000, and we're going to be under it. So beware. This is kind of crazy because if we drop below it, we went to where we had previous support on the weekly. That's like 35,000. So beware, 40, 35,000. These crazy numbers could happen. We need to close this week above it. And but it still is not very cool that we sort of Darth Mauled it on this weekly. Not so great. Anyway, with that said, beware. This is a big deal. Don't like seeing that. And then also on the weekly, looking at the MACD, the tangent, as they call it, has trended negative now. We're not opening this beautiful histogram to future positivity right now on the weekly. So That's not good. That weekly puts a lot of pressure on the daily, and the daily puts a lot of pressure on like the 4 hour, etc., and the 12 hours. So anyway, weekly has started to trend a bit more negative than I like to see. I don't like seeing the tangent of the MACD trending towards the negative, even if it is positive right now. And I don't like approaching this 21 EMA at all on the weekly, even if it's just a wick so far. Because as you can see what happened last time, we crossed it to the negative side. It wasn't cool. And if we do, when we go back to that previous support we had, like I say, we're looking at 35, 40,000 easy. Now, the daily chart, 200 moving average, we have been riding that thing. We're wicking below it. We're not exactly above it right now. Daily MACD, trending negative. There's really no, the tangent is not even trending towards the positive. Daily MACD sucks. Shitstorm. Okay, so anyway, with that said, looking at the daily here for the 100 moving average, I'm sorry, for the 50 moving average and the 100. So Bitcoin is riding that 50 moving average. These are all a big deal. I mean, 21 EMA, you got to be above it. That's bullish. 200 moving average on the daily, you want to be above that. It's bullish. On the daily 50 moving average, you want to be above that. That's bullish. Anyway, we're just really close to a negative break that wouldn't be so great. Looking at the daily also, as you can see, the directional index here on the daily is trending towards the negative. So is the ADX. That's not so great. The squeeze indicator is definitely, we see downwards velocity. We're squeezing towards the downside. The KRI on the daily here is towards the negative. Tangent has turned up, but still it's negative now. I can say the stochastic RSI is a little bit more hopeful. Stochastic RSI, if I can get to maximize here for us, come on, stochastic RSI has just turned positive, and it's way down here in this beautiful oversold area. So anyway, be careful. We are really riding a lot of moving averages very, very close that do demark bullish versus bearish to many people. Like I say, 21 weekly EMA, we wicked to it this week. We do not want to close below that. It's not that far. It isn't that far of a push where it could. I mean, if some bear whales wanted to screw with us, get it down to 43K, it closes below that, boom, we could have a disaster. Also, the weekly MACD, it's not looking good either. Tangent's going the wrong way. Daily sucks. Daily MACD is crappy. Daily, we're on the 200 moving average. We're riding that thing really, really hard. We've been wicking below it. We gotta close that daily above the 200 moving average and stay there to be bullish. 50 moving average on the daily. We've got to bounce off that and stay above that daily 50 moving average. It's a big deal. But right now, the indicators as I see them right now are just not showing that maybe completely likely to happen. So be careful, everybody. With that said, 4-hour chart. Now here is a big deal, and this is kind of the crux of everything for the short time frame. And not this exact chart, but this what I'm showing you here did come from New Questions over at Blockchain Education. He's the one who actually did this chart originally, and I kind of saw the light when he did it. So this is my version of the same thing. 4-hour chart, starting back here, doing the fib, starting back around the 19th to the 20th of July. We ride this thing up to the recent high that we've had of right around 53,000, and now boom, it's a 4-hour chart. We are below the 200 moving average. We have range between the 200 moving average and the 314 moving average for a while, and as you can see before, we wicked off that 314 moving average, got back in that range. We wicked off the 314 moving average once again, and now we're moving up a bit. So really realize the 314 moving average is right here. So far, we've only wicked to it and bounced recently on the 4-hour, but also that is the 382 fib level, which is 43,860 as I've drawn this fib. And so you can see we do have previous support where Bitcoin has bounced there before. This is the 314 moving average also. They're both matching up when you have a moving average and a fib line matching up, especially in my opinion, a very powerful one on the 4-hour chart, the 200 moving average and the 314. And do note the 200 moving average is right here at the 236 fib level for Bitcoin at 47,326, and the 314 is right around the 43,860. Been ranging between those two. Are we going to see a bounce and get it back above this 200 moving average off the 314? I don't know. We do show a good deal of the VPVR, visible range volume, that you see here on the chart. We do see that we do have some volume built right in this area between the two fib levels. So just be watchful, because here on the 4-hour chart, if I was to, let's squish this a little bit, look at my indicators. I mean, the directional index is pure crap, but you can see that it is slowly beginning to trend back towards the positive. That could certainly happen. KRI is still in the red. Stochastic RSI is moving up. It's on the positive side of things. 4-hour chart, looking at the lazy bear wave trend oscillator. Not a bad oscillator. I tell you what, tends to have some pretty profound power to it. The wave trend oscillator has just crossed positive on the signal way down here in the oversold area. Not quite as oversold as back here, but definitely this is a nice spot, and you can see if we look, Bitcoin does have a bit of a fetish for this zone right here to bounce. It does do it, and we're doing it again. And if we correspond that to the chart, you know, sorry, you can't quite see that, but in general, it does tend to show at least a bit of a bursty move up. So let's see how this rolls, everybody. It's a difficult time. Like I say, we're riding a lot of moving averages that to me demark bullish versus bearish a little bit very closely. I don't quite like it, especially this 21 weekly EMA. We drop below that. As you can see in the past, it has been pure shit. Then we're looking at 40,000, 38,000, whatever. All the stuff that the bear gangsters are just really kind of, you know, slowly stroking it for. So with that said, also look at the 45-minute chart. Now, looking at the 45-minute chart, indicators here still, to me, are just not bullish either. You know, my directional index, ADX is not good, KRI isn't green. I like seeing that. Stochastic RSI is kind of showing that, well, I'm not seeing positive movement there. Lazy bear, wave trend oscillator, if I can get to maximize. It is just right now trending negative. It looks like we're going to see a further turn down. With that said, but we are, even though this chart is not really inspirational, I mean, it is below the 200 moving average and the 314 moving average, and also, crap, it only gets worse. This white moving average, the white one is the course 200, and the blue one there is the 314. The 200 is just crossed under the 314. That sucks. Another bearish issue on the 45-minute chart, but we are lined up. If we do look, this is a BART pattern that could happen. I noticed that before. I mean, Bitcoin does tend to oftentimes oscillate in inverse, well, in like a BART and reverse BART patterns. You know, this would be BART standing on its head. It's kind of a reverse BART pattern. This does happen, you know. So we definitely could see a move right back up, and that would be, if we look here, a forecast, if we actually did hop back up to that previous, you know, high we've had, that's really just like 15%, boom. And let's face it, Bitcoin can do that in a day or two, or an hour or two. So just take some bullish whales, or just stroke of luck, you know, good karma for humanity, whatever, positive future pull, you know, the good things in the future pulling now to it. It could happen. Definitely could happen. That pattern does complete quite often. Looking at Ethereum versus USDT, you know what? It's kind of the same if I go across the board, really. It could complete a BART pattern looking at the 4-hour for Ethereum versus BTC. And once again, you could see a BART pattern possibly closing. What I do like seeing on the 4-hour here for Ethereum is we had a bounce off the 200 moving average. Now it looks like we're going to probably come back above the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. And indicators are kind of in the right spot towards seeing it break above that 200 moving average. So really, I have an alert set in the 4-hour for breaking above that 200 moving average. Because if we do break above this 200 moving average on the 4-hour, and especially depending on how the 45-minute chart looks, especially if we can break above it there also. And once again, here we have the 200 below the 314, not so great. But if we can get a good 4-hour chart and a good 45-minute chart reflecting that for really immediate price action, I could see ETH possibly leading the way. It looks a little bit more capable of doing that. With that said, everybody, like I say, I'm just saying, like, whatever your positions are, whatever you're thinking of doing, just be aware. We could see that dip. If you're in the green, maybe hedge out a little bit. You know, not financial advice and any purposes only. I'm just saying that's what I did this morning. And last night, I hedged out of some of my I hedged out of some of my trades that are in the green. I hate doing that. Hedged out of some Bitcoin, hedged out of some Ethereum, hedged out of some Solana. I mean, and I don't really like doing that because I think they probably will ultimately make more money, of course, but I'd rather just stay out of the red because it's a volatile market. So I hedged out some of my green, And that's what I did because, look, man, if that thing opens up, it's going to get ugly. You know what I mean? And I want to be close. I want to be in USDC or USDT or USD when that happens. All right. I'm not so altruistic that I'm riding the that I'm going down with the ship in Bitcoin or Ethereum. With that said, remember, this is the peaceful revolution. It does matter. I am glad you're here. And for every Bitcoin Satoshi you own, a piece of shit banker and globalist, evil person, good day to reflect on evil, September 11th. Evil cries. So take care. See you next time.